Why organization behavior became an important aspect. As the history says, the first experiment that was started with the Hawthorne studies at the Western Electric, where managers assume that people enjoy work, they accept the responsibility given to them, they are innovative, and they are self-controlling people. Look for meritorious people, look for people who are capable, who are the right people for the right kind of job. Good morning and welcome to the second session of Unit 1 in Organizational Behavior. Now here we are going to talk about the historical development of organizational behavior. Now moving further, when you start looking at the benefits, first of all, of why we need to study this, it's quite interesting. Why? Because you are going to develop the skills to function effectively, grow personally through insight of human behavior, enhance the overall organization effectiveness, and sharpen and reconfine and refine your common sense altogether. Now, what is happening here is that if you go through the history, if you go back, why organization behavior became an important aspect for us to study, for us to grow further, is because of the factor that they were very, very important aspect. They were very, very important and interesting things that actually led to the development of human beings, especially towards the organizational welfare. Now, moving further, let's try to understand the key developments in the organizational behavior history. As the history says, the first experiment that was started with the Hawthorne studies at the Western Electric. What was the experiment all about? Originally intended as a study of effects in terms of environmental changes on productivity. So, for example, what are the effects of the work environment? So, when you are going to increase the work environment lighting, or when you are going to increase in terms of the work atmosphere, what is going to happen? Now, when the light effect was good, people performed better. When the light was dim, it was put back in terms of a very low or a poor lighting conditions, automatically people also did not perform better. So, what we try to understand here is that the tendency of the people to behave differently and when they receive the attention factor. Now, this is very, very common among us. Why? Because today, when you see as an individual human being, when you are being notified, when you have been specially called up by your seniors, by your management, and they really praise you for the work that you have done, automatically you get motivated. You want to take up the work, you want to do better, and you want to take it to the next level as far as possible. And that's really, really interesting. Why? Because you try to understand this factor that this kind of attention, what I'm going to receive, is definitely going to take me forward. Now, the next thing is that the findings that are telling us is the economic incentives are less potent than generally believed. Ailing with the human problems complicate the challenges also. So when you look into this aspect, in terms when you are trying to demonetize, when you're trying to pay low, or when you don't motivate your employees, automatically the performance level also starts coming down. So when you don't prove, or when you don't provide a conducive work atmosphere for your employees, automatically the output also starts declining to a great extent. This is very, very important for all of us to study and to understand. The reason is that we have to see that whenever we are providing employees with the right kind of atmosphere, with the right kind of incentives and factors, then automatically the employee's performance will also go up. Now, the next thing is that leadership practices and work group pressure strongly influence productivity, satisfaction, and performance. What is this all about? Now, when you talk about leadership, when you talk about people who stand by you, who motivate you, who guide you to take it to the next level as far as possible, this is always needed. So I would always say that the satisfaction, the level of production, the way how you achieve things, the way how you perform, all matters here to a very, very great extent. So that is why I would always say that you need to perform in a particular manner. You need to perform based on your support, on the motivation and all the factors that judge on you. Personal problems have influence of the worker productivity. So if you have a family problem, you are irritated because of that. You have a financial problem. You have some breakdown in your family. Some of your members are not keeping up well. Will you be able to concentrate on your work? Definitely no. So personal problems will definitely have an effect on your work atmosphere. So personal problems will influence your productivity. The next thing, effective communication is critical to success. Now, unless and until your managers come up to you, they motivate you, they talk to you, they come out, they explain you what is right, what is wrong, how we need to do it, why we need to do it. All those factors of communication has been told to you, then only you will be able to perform and you will be able to take it forward. Or else what happens is that you will not be able to perform. You will feel that, sir, I'm let down. I'm not able to do things properly at all. So again and again, let me tell you many a times that, unless and until the interaction, the factors of coming forward, motivating the employee, making him feel important for the day does not happen, and automatically you are left back. Now, the next thing is that the factors embedded in the social system that influence behavior, very important. Why? Because now the social system under which an organization works, so that is very important here. What you're trying to see here is that whenever you see people who are working with you, who are working closely with you in terms of growth, in terms of aspect, in terms of making you understand how situations really work. So you need to see that how is the social system of the organization that is embedded. What kind of culture, what kind of diversity, what kind of people, where is the organization located, in what circumstances and situation? Because all those factors actually influence the behavior of the people as well as the organizational outlook. Moving further, now let's try to understand the historical development with the human relations movement. Based on the belief that managerial practices, morale, productivity are strongly linked, and that of the proper working environment enhances the worker capability. So we always say that the managerial practices which try to increase your morale, which tries to increase your productivity, which tries to increase your attitude, which tries to increase your performance level, are purely on the factors that they will try to make you understand how to take it forward, how to go and develop the organization. In that context, we had a great management thinker known as Douglas McGregor, who had come up with a theory called as the theory X and the theory Y. What does the theory X say? The theory X says that managers assume people dislike work. So there is an assumption here. It is not a direct understanding. It's an assumption that they avoid responsibility, they lack ambition, and they need close supervision. So the X type of people are negative in approach. They believe that people are not going to do the job unless and until there is an external force or a factor working on them. On the other hand, let's look at the theory Y, where managers assume that people enjoy work, they accept the responsibility given to them, they are innovative, and they are self-controlling people. So the theory Y are contradictory to that of the theory X. The Y people believe that people will take up the work, people will take up the responsibility, they will do their activities by themselves, and then they will come up. So this is one of the most important factor that we are talking about, where you see that people themselves are able to do it, they're able to learn, and they are able to come up by themselves. Now, moving further, the contingency approach that we are going to talk about, then this is one of the development, as I have told you, that contingency is all about the behavior of people in different situations. Why? Because situation to situation an employee differs. When he is happy, when he is in a good mood, when he is in a good situation, when things are going on well, every employee will also be happier. The output level will go up. They will be able to do the work better and their productivity levels will also be higher. But on the other side, when they are sad, when they are not doing the job properly, when they are not getting enough incentives, when they are not getting enough growth altogether, then automatically the organizational behavior will also come down. So these are certain factors which I always say. Why? Because these things matter a lot when it comes to the organizational belief factors altogether. So this is very, very important for us. The contingency approach. How does an employee react at a particular situation given altogether? The next one, we are talking about the practices of a successful organization. So as the organization started developing, the organizational behavior practices started developing, every organization wanted to build in a customary practice, a guideline through which they would be able to make their employee perform better, through which their employees can deliver better. So some of the common practices that we are going to see through organization behavior is employment security. Every single employee must feel good about the factor that definitely my job is secured. I have a secured organization to work with, which will take care of my needs both financially as well as morally. Next, high standards in selecting a person. So when you select the right kind of person, though you might have to pay more, that's chapter 2. But then chapter 1 is that look for meritorious people, look for people who are capable, who are the right people for the right kind of job. Please do not select people just because you want to add on human resources to your organization. Don't do that mistake. So you keep standards in terms of selecting so that you get the right kind of people, the best people to work in the organization. Extensive use of self-management teams and decentralized decision making. Now, what is that extensive use of the factor called as self-managed teams and decentralized decision making? I want the organization not to work on a hub and spokes model, but rather to work on a factor where you will be able to see that every single branch, every single office is able to work on their own. Every single employee of the organization is self-motivated. Every single employee is capable of making his or her own decisions as the time calls for. So which means you need to create an empowered set of people in your organization who can lead through difficult and challenging times. Next, comparatively high compensation based on performance. So performance leads to pay. Pay does not lead to performance. Please understand this factor clearly. You are paying your employees based on performance. Please do not promise your employees that I'm going to pay more and that's why I got people inside. And finally, you see that the people are not performing. Performance leads to payment. Higher the performance, higher the pay altogether. Extensive employee training. Train your employees, get them involved into the habit of learning, because more and more the organization spend time on training, getting the employee trained on different aspects, getting the employee trained on different insights about the organization will definitely help you to build a successful company altogether. Now, moving further, let's try to understand the further practices. Reduction of status difference between higher management and employees. Now, whenever you hear about people like Mark Zuckerberg, or whenever you hear about people like Steve Jobs, or you hear about people like Bill Gates, These people have been able to practice a most important thing called as they always remained as a common man approach to their employees. They never lived with a distinction or a title saying that I'm the boss of the company, so you better stand back. No, that is not the way how you develop an organization. Reduce the difference between the organization and the employees. The management's job is to get more closer to the employee, understand the problems, understand the roles, the situations clearly. That's where I would like to make use of this word called as empathy rather than sympathy. The management has to empathize with the employees, understand exactly what they are going through. And whenever the employee needs support from the organization, the management should be available to do the hand-holding exercise. They should mentor their employees. They should guide their employees. They should give them the necessary support. They should give them the assurance that yes, we are with you always. And automatically, the performance of the organization goes up. Next thing, the information sharing among managers and other workers. We all believe in this world, information is the most powerful thing that a man can possess. No doubt about it. But inside the organization, information needs to be shared. It doesn't mean that I will hold back things and I will not share it with my employees. So always information should be circulated among the employees. They should be told clearly what are the factors, how it needs to be done, and what are the different aspects altogether. Followed by promotion from within. The biggest recognition that you can give to an employee is promotion. When you promote him, you don't just promote him with pay, but you promote him with responsibility. He feels happy about the factor the organization has recognized me. They have given me this post not just out of any other factors, but they have recognized my talent, my performance, and they've given me an opportunity to perform even better. So that's why promotion is a very big motivational tool that you can give to your employees and see that your organization really comes up. The skill development in organization behavior. As the development of OB started moving further, we also started learning about the general learning model, the conceptual information and behavior guidelines, the conceptual information demonstrated by example and brief descriptions altogether, experimental exercises in the form of practice, and the feedback on skill utilization and performance. Now, what we tend to do when we talk about the skill development and the training is that we want the employees to get on a hands-on experience of whatever is being spoken in the classroom. You take the employees and put them to a training session altogether. Now, the training might be for 80 hours in a calendar year. So when I typically put them for a training for 1 week or 2 days or 5 days or 3 days, whatever is the training program that an employee is going to undergo, he needs a platform to practice and perform. You cannot make training just a theoretical exercise. I have just attended a training session for 1 day. Let's say for 8 hours I attended training session. Fine. I don't have to do any work today. That was a nice escapism route for me. That is not expected out of a training. What is expected out of a training is that how can you put that employee back to test, back to a performance mode altogether. So the aim of training, the aim of learning inside the organization is to make the employee potentially recognize and understand whatever he has gone through. So if I have completed 80 hours of training, 100 hours or 150 hours of training, I want to see the output of it. So what we need to do is that manage the concept and the practice together and bring in a better delivery performance module. Moving further, a model for developing the organizational behavior, we start going into the learner uses where we are going to talk about the conceptual knowledge and the behavior guidelines. We are also going to talk about conceptual information and examples. experimental exercises, the feedback on skill utilization, which is also very, very important here. Now, when I say that the skill development factor, here, if you look onto this slide, I'm trying to emphasize on the learner through the conceptual knowledge and behavior. By learning something, does your behavior change? Does your outlook change? Does your ideology change? If the answer is yes to all this, then I would like to match upon by saying that yes, this is going to provide us a better opportunity of growth. The next thing is that the conceptual information and examples that we are trying to give, which means to say that whenever we are involving ourselves in a conceptual information and example, we have to connect ourselves. We have to go further, try to understand and develop ourselves. So this is very, very important for all of us to understand and take it forward. Similarly, there are a lot of experimental exercises that go through. And the experimental exercises are one where you will be able to see that you are being put to a trial mode altogether, where you have to test it, try it out, see whether these things are working out or not, and then take it forward to the next level. Now, the other thing is the feedback on skill utilization. What is the feedback that we have on the skill utilization? So you have learned a skill and you have performed on it. Now, what is the feedback on it? How do your managers, how do the management look into it? Do they feel happy about the skill that you have acquired? Has the skill that you have acquired has brought in some changes to your work atmosphere? Have you been able to deliver better, perform better than what you were doing some time back? So all these factors will definitely start coming into picture. Followed by the framework for studying an organizational behavior. Now, there is an individual level here, followed by groups and interpersonal and the organizational system and the global environment. So this is a typical triangle which I want to join, where I see an individual connected to the organization, which is connected to a global system, and all the three people join at a common point altogether. Now, if you're able to draw up a commonality, you will be able to see that they're all joining at a common point. So what I'm trying to see here is that the individual differences, the individual understanding, personality, creativity, foundation, these are all very, very important. Why? Because they are immediately connected to the group behavior, to the organization behavior altogether, because that's how they talk with people, that's how they move with people, that's how they learn to do work in a common place. Now, when you look at certain organizations, their brand value or their organizational values are not just out of simple theoretical exercises. They have gone through a lot of practical training, which makes them to behave in a particular manner, and that's why you see them here. And that's the influence that you are going to see in terms of group and interpersonal behavior relationship altogether. And now what is happening is that this group and interpersonal behavior relationship, when it comes to a global context, when it comes to an organizational context, automatically the reflection is being shown across worldwide. So when people talk about your company, when people talk about your ideologies, when people talk about your employees, they feel so happy. Why? Because there is a particular sense of responsibility, morality, behavior, attitude, and factors that is being revealed through your organizational policies. And that really matters. Why? Because that is the key driver for your organization. That is the key attraction for future talent to come into the organization. So that's why I would always say that the framework of organizational behavior is very, very important. With this, I come to the end of this particular session. I hope and believe that all the information that is being shared through the slides are of a great importance and resource to you. In the upcoming sessions, we will be talking about the various opportunities, challenges, and disciplines of the organizational behavior. Until then, stay tuned, stay blessed, and stay enlightened forever. Thank you once again for joining me today on this wonderful session.